suppose we got into Zoom last year. It was one of the major positive things to come out of 2020 for me anyway, in terms of my teaching. Our stories on the website through the video in terms of 2020. So rather than, we'll say, repeating that, what I'm going to have a look at today more so is, where we are today, and I suppose how Zoom has enhanced what we're doing, even from last year. There's been a huge difference. So like Gaelcholáiste, Luimnigh, like there's a culture and a structure that very much complements, we'll say, teachers and their drive to enhance learning through the use of technology. We would have a digital learning team headed up by Miss Kieran Driscoll, and we hold teach meets and kind of investigative meetings around different types of technologies, and that's kind of where I found the greatest use for Zoom last year. Kira would have presented it in October, would have presented the best use and the best practice around Zoom, and that kind of transformed my teaching. I say transform, like, I mean, this for me isn't really a case of we'll say, getting through the lockdown. What this has done is it actually improved my teaching. It's improved the learning experience of my students in kind of three different ways. So if I kind of group them in this kind of a way, so that here we have pedagogy, okay, I have group work or collaboration, and then I have assessment. And that's kind of really the three main areas that have been improved within the four walls of my classroom through the use of Zoom. What I do initially is I tend to, we'll say, like this, share my iPad to the Zoom call, to the classroom. And then that gives me great, we'll say, flexibility in terms of being able to annotate my slides the way I'm doing here, the way I've written on this slide here. I'm able to graph, I'm able to draw, we'll say, I'm able to draw economics graphs, and I'm able to, we'll say, lessons like this, we'll say accountancy questions where the question is open and I can run through, we'll say, the mechanics of how to do a question for students. Now, that's been an absolute game changer for me, because we'll say with an economics graph like this, such as playing on the screen, what the students go home with is the finished product. They don't go home with the building blocks of how to create a graph like this, or how to, we'll say, understand perhaps how to go about drawing it in an exam setting. So the learning has been massively enhanced, because they can actually go home then and play the video and learn the steps as they go along, as opposed to just having the finished graph and wondering how would they go about drawing these kind of things, or the same with accountancy questions. I found it's been just like an absolute game changer, as I said. The recorded lessons, our feedback from students during last year's lockdown would have been that, all live lessons is probably too heavy for them, but maybe one recorded lesson during the week can help in terms of they can do it in their own time. And I've yet to find a platform that provides the facility for recording lessons, with such an ease as Zoom. Like, all I do is I hop into my own meeting, I host a private meeting, and I record the lesson, and I can download that video and I can edit in iMovie or whatever afterwards. But the students find those very, very helpful, and it eases the pressure on them, because after all, they're sitting in front of their screens all day during the day, and it can be difficult for them at their age. The facilitation of group work has been unbelievable. Like last year, I probably didn't make the best use out of it. I was putting them into group work. You jump into the breakout room just to see how they're getting on, and maybe the level of interaction was a bit slow, or they kind of didn't know what they were doing. But this year, it's far more active in that I might put a link for a Jamboard, for example, up in the chat function, and the students can actively work together on a kind of a mini project, and that has just, it's just totally lit up the classes, because again, we have 50-minute classes, and you don't really want to be, just, we'll say, lecturing for the 50 minutes. It's massively active, and the students tend to love it. And then from an assessment point of view, the live polls, I've loved them from the get-go, not only just to get students' opinions on how the lessons are going, but also in terms of how they're picking up the material in terms of assessment, being able to allow them to co-host and flip that classroom and allow them to teach back or present back to you or show videos that they've created. assessment of learning. Again, I find like connecting the iPad to the screen and being able to do exam questions in the same fashion that they would do with a pen and paper. I found that, again, it has helped the learning massively. And then this year in economics, we have the first year of a Leaving Cert project, and being able to hold breakout rooms within the class situation where I can speak to the students one-on-one about their project and share their project, and that has been a massive help to them in their would say research project journeys. So in terms of within the classroom, definitely it has enhanced the situation from a pedagogical point of view. It has enhanced the collaboration among students, and it has definitely enhanced the assessment for and assessment of learning within my classrooms. Externally in Gaelcholáiste, we've knocked a huge amount of use out of Zoom. One of the major things that I found is that it allows students to gain access to maybe guest speakers or experts in their field that normally wouldn't be available because, the travel time or getting to schools, like when, if they do a presentation for one school, they might have to do it for 50. So that has been exceptional. We had a webinar with Stephen Kinsella that caused such a stir that he ended up having to do it for all the economics teachers in the country afterwards. Transition year workshops, again, availing of opportunities that might not have been there and in a local situation. CPD for teachers, well-being webinars and parent-teacher meetings. Interestingly enough, I had my first parent-teacher meeting for my own daughter yesterday evening in Aver School, and I must say, from a parent's point of view, it just makes life so much easier. And just to conclude very quickly, quite simply, like for me, I don't think that Zoom has changed education. I just think for me, it has enhanced it greatly going forward. I'm going to make far more use out of, we'll say, recording lessons within the normal classroom situation. It's not just a remote thing for me. And going forward, it's just going to be part of what I do as a secondary teacher. So thanks, Leo.